Extreme gardening is after the polar vortex hit us. Let's take a look at a progression since the snow stopped. If you don't like the weather, wait a couple hours. You have 1.5 inches of snow on the ground. It's warmed up to 3 degrees and the garden is beautiful. It's gonna clear off, which is gonna make it really cold tonight. But like I said, having the snow on top of the plastic is a really good insulator. So I'm not too worried about any of this, but we'll see what we get. Even at 14 degrees. Yeah, some of the carrot tops got a little singed, but it got down to -2 last night. A little bit of snow on top, but we've got liquid water forming inside. That ground's still thawed. I'm not gonna open any of the rest of this up. We're just gonna let the sun heat those up. But you can do this too. We've got liquid water inside this tent. 23 degrees right now. It got down to -3 last night. Swiss chard is pretty cold hardy. It got very, very cold. We'll see how that thaws. This is quite extreme. Carrots look like they got bit just a little bit more, but that's very warm inside of there. We got liquid water. I'm not gonna look under here until tomorrow. It's gonna be 40 degrees. I'm gonna let that stay good and warm. Well, it singed off a little bit of the tops of the garlic, but most everything's covered up. We'll see if anything survived. The greenhouse is nice and warm. And our broccoli and our cauliflower seem like it's made it so far. See, look at that, right underneath that mulch. That's frozen on top. You get down here, that is good and moist. That is thawed. That soil is good and thawed. That's why we put that heavy mulch down. Last year we used bales and a screen, and I know that worked really well. We had 2 weeks of this kind of weather. They look like they came through that pretty good. Drum roll, please. Look at that. Never done it in a raised bed. Don't know if that dirt's gonna freeze or not. In this kind of weather, the heavier your cold frame is, the better off you're gonna be. Extreme gardening, 3 days after the storm. Let's take a look and see what's under the plastic. Well, we'll let the sun get on that and see what happens. Now, I'm gonna have to cover this back up. Since it's above freezing, I want some sun to get in on these. Quite cold. Everything looks like it got singed a little bit. Oh! That looks kind of tragic. But we have some of the taller leaves got bit pretty bad. We'll see what happens. The ground underneath there is not frozen. Where the tops look pretty bad, we'll see if we have anything come back. Well, and that's why we went ahead and harvested quite a bit. Let the sun come in here, thaw these out, and we'll see if anything survived. The carrots are not a loss. We still got baby spinach. We still have spinach, cilantro, and carrots. Cabbage looks like it got bit pretty good. We'll see. Beets look like they took it pretty hard also. Their spinach looks like it's fine. Turnips. And the beet tops burnt down a little bit, but not all. Let's let the sun thaw these out a little bit. We'll see what we get. Well, we lost a few things, kept a few things. Could have been worse. Could have lost it all. Let's take a look at this in a couple hours. The whole point was to keep as much alive as we could. I am glad that we took the big leaves off the kale, but the little leaves look okay. Not the healthiest looking batch of carrots, but they're not all gone. The spinach is a champion. And our beets, turnips, and that spinach doing pretty good. When it gets down to -4 for hours and it warms up to 10, drops back down to -3, the latter with the light plastic fared the worst. Well, we put a tote over those. We'll see if some of those are still alive. Our kale seems to have come through pretty well. I harvested all the big leaves right before the cold hit. Now the Swiss chard was pretty tall. Those outer leaves, they froze pretty good, but it looks like the plants are still alive. They got some smaller leaves. We'll trim those up and we'll see how those come out. Looking at it, that downpour we had right before it froze got the mulch good and wet. And when it froze, it closed up all those little air pockets and it cut down a lot of the insulating properties. We did everything right out here. And then we got that downpour. Things didn't go quite as planned. But that's gardening for you. And I'm still confident we're going to have something growing and we'll be able to eat out of this garden all winter long. I mean, just look at this spinach. It doesn't look like it got hurt at all. We'll uncover everything again tomorrow and we'll see what we got, and I hope you join me for that. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant. Let's go plant garden.